Hello and welcome to the fourth video in the annual capital budget series, where we'll be covering the fourth step in the exterior renovation budget process. Within this step, we are going to be adding, deleting, and updating line items from our annual capital budget. So we're finally getting to that point where we're going to be actually adding in our annual capital items. I just want to make a quick side note as I'm on my way to adding my very first annual capital budget item. When I get out here, I will notice that I see some rehab costs if my property has an existing rehab going on. So if you have previously had a rehab or you have a rehab in process, this is a really great opportunity to look at the existing OCB for your property and just do that extra double check to make sure that the item that you're requesting at this time is not part of your existing OCB and has not been previously approved. So just to reiterate from the prior videos, we are only entering in our non-recurring capital expenses into our annual capital budget. So if an item has previously been approved, we're not going to want to enter it here. And those previously approved items are going to be displaying when we look at our budget in this section of Project Pro. So if we go to the new line item, we are going to select our property. We're going to select our job code that we created in the prior video. So if you're not sure what this is, make sure you're checking out that prior video as well as the second video to understand, why we're showing operating cash here. We'll also see our tree, which we set up in the prior video as well. And we're going to go to exterior improvement plan and roofing. If you have any questions about what is showing up in here or what is included in the exterior improvement plan, the subcategory is a great way to figure that out. You can go through that list and figure out what items you're going to be including in that exterior improvement plan. So if you're not sure, what is an exterior improvement plan, what's landscape, hardscape, looking through that next category of subcategory will give you a good idea of what those are. We're going to select our code for our CapEx items to keep it easy, and we don't have a second code to choose from. So we've got some larger scopes in those than we do have in our OCB items. We've just got one item to select. We're going to enter in our price per item. So we're going to go ahead and enter in that $90,000. We're going to enter in our scope. So keep in mind the audience for your scope is BH Construction, your owner, your supervisor, possibly even the BH executive team. If they are interested in what CapEx work you're doing at your property and looking at the overall budgets for the properties. So keep in mind when you're writing in this scope, this is going to communicate to all of those different audience members exactly what it is that you're completing as part of this $90,000 budget. So with that being the case, keep it clear, keep it something that a team member outside of your property would be able to understand, and make sure you're accurately explaining the work that you want to complete. So I'm not going to be entering in anything here because this is just a test item, but a good kind of rule of thumb, I would want to explain for my roofing item, potentially what building I'm going to be updating, why I'm updating this roof on this building, anything like that you want to make sure you're explaining. So I'm going to go with just my made up scope. For required repair, by definition, as part of your annual capital budget, it's not going to be a required repair, so you don't have to worry about that. And then you're going to enter in your projected start date and your projected completion date. So I would expect you're going to see those in 2021 since you are creating your 2021 capital budget. And you might have noticed as you were going through this process that what is different from your capital budget from balance is that you're only entering in one lump sum item instead of tracking at the level of precision where you are tracking by month. So when we talked about occupancy, that month by month amount was so important. We really needed to do the 12-month items. We're talking about capital budgeting. Basically how we've set this up is so that you're only entering in one lump sum item. And then what we're going to do for you, or what the system is going to do automatically, is take that one item and split it out over the number of months that you've selected in your projected start and completion date. So if you enter in this item as taking 3 months, and it's a $90,000 item, what you'll see when you look at your reports in balance, once you've selected calculate formulas, will be $30,000 spread out between between January and March. So we're going to enter in our comments. Once again, consider the same audience as your scope and make sure basically use this to explain anything that you feel was not explained during your scope that you believe your audience will want to know, and then click view report. I see some testing data in here, so I do see some duplicates that I may want to delete in the future, but that provides some reference for me as well. I also see that I created this line, so if anyone were looking at this in the future, they can see that I was the one who created this. And then from there, I'm going to cover the delete. So let's delete my roofing item. So if I go to my property, once again, you only have to select this if you are a regional manager or any other team member who has multiple properties reporting to you. And instead of deleting my roofing item, I'm actually going to leave this carpentry item. So you'll see a lot of this information populated in for me because I only have one code in here. If I wanted to delete my roofing item instead, I'd want to select that subcategory and then select the value I want to delete. So I'm going to go ahead and click view report. And now this roofing item is deleted. So now I see all of the other budget items, not including, I do actually see that roofing item, but it's because I added it twice. So if I had not added it twice, I would not be seeing it in here, but typically I'm not going to be seeing that item. And then I'm going to go to update line item. I'm going to select my property. I'm going to select my item that I want to change. So if I go to, let's look at my CapEx tax budget, and I'm going to go to CapEx roofing. And let's say I had originally budgeted that this is something I could complete in 3 months. And then after I talked to BH Construction, they kind of gave me some insight that this is probably not a 3-month project. They have a lot, they had used their knowledge to say it is actually more of a 6-month project based on what we've previously seen. So if they gave us that information, we want to make sure we get this updated. So I'm going to go ahead and update this from a 3-month project to a 6-month project and then click view report. And now we'll see this new item come through. So it's going to be this one right here with the updated amount. And then from there, if I want to go back to where I can see all of my budgets or where I can select the budget I want to view, I can go to view OCB and I can return to the beginning. For the sake of this training, I'm not going to cover copy. That's typically used for our takeovers, so don't worry too much about this section. And then from there, I have now covered step 4. So you'll just continue to add new items, delete those items, update those items, and you'll continue to repeat the steps we looked at here. I look forward to seeing you in the next training.